Well, let's jump right in.
Can you
Okay,
see me okay?
Yep, we can see you. All right, Mike, go ahead.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode from Broke to Millions. I'm joining us live from Exuma, Bahamas. That's one of the great islands out here. And this podcast is brought to you by well, I
OPM,
don't even know where we at.
OPM intensive.
OPM intensive. Man, this weather going to my head, man. We got OPM intensive here. You showing that, man?
Yep. I'm showing it right now, guys. So, all right. So with the OPM intensive, why it is? It's a 2-day event that will teach you everything that we will teach you everything we know on how to raise private capital. That's why it's called OPM. And it's going to be intense because it's a workshop. You won't just sit there and learn a bunch of stuff. We will actually help you practice your pitch. We will give you like a phone script on how to prospect for potential investors. We will even work on your social media so you can start attracting private investors. We'll give you a list of family offices. These are big institutional money that you can reach out to together with the decision makers. Okay. So like raising millions of dollars of private capital, we will make it a reality for you guys. So with that, go to opmintensive.com. January 25 to 26, there are only 17 tickets left, okay? opmintensive.com. But all right, so that's the sponsor for today. So today we're going to talk about, go ahead.
No, what we got, man? We ain't get the intro. We ain't got nothing. We ain't got no sound. We moving the office.
Yeah.
I'm out of the country. Walt, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
You like the new office that we're moving to?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I just gotta figure out how everything's gonna fit, but we'll figure it out.
All right.
Downside till we upside again. Figure out where we're going. What's going on? How was Arizona, brother?
Pretty good. Yeah, the kids, just swam the whole day.
Outside or inside?
Outside.
Lord.
While I do while I work. So, but it's a awesome workshop, man. It's always good to be in a room where you're not the smartest person in the room, and you're learning from other people who are like light years ahead of you. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Hey, Walt, we got the chat on?
Yes,
I
sir.
already set it up. I set it up.
Yeah, well, everybody, man, I need to see where we're checking in from today. Whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, well, no Instagram today, but Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Just check in. Tell us where you're from. We got a lot of great information today. We also got great mindset. We got Long Island, Arizona, Charlotte in the building, Buffalo. So great to have you guys.
Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Philly, Ontario, California. Okay.
Mohawk, Tennessee. I did not know that was
Jacksonville. Cool.
All right, guys. Well, let's go and get this kicked off, brother.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about how to thrive, not just survive, the coming Great Recession. So,
in case you didn't know me, I've been doing real estate for many years, over 1,500 units, apartments, hotels. We're doing a development now in Sarasota, Florida, $100 million project, and looking at more hotels across the country. And quite frankly, in the last Great Recession, we did not just survive, but we thrived. And that's what we're going to share with you today, how you can be successful in this recession.
Yeah, and I remember you you telling me that in just 1 year you bought enough properties that all of your personal expenses are covered, which is amazing. You became basically
Yeah,
financially
absolutely.
free in just 1 year because of the recession.
The
So
recession took care of me, man. I would love to have another. Well, we are in another one. It's just how you're going to take advantage, whether
mhm.
it's multiple properties or one big property.
Yep.
Today we're going to talk about three things: uh, why prepare for the recession, the three things I did during the Great Recession, and the one thing you need to prepare for in order to get through this recession. And that's a lot of information.
Yep.
Now, why prepare for this recession, man? In the U.S., the recession happens every 6 years. Now, even though we said that so confidently, this last one, I think we had 140 months straight, 140 months straight
Mhm.
of positive earnings.
Yep. Economic growth,
Now,
right? Mhm.
which is just over 6 years. So it's pretty accurate here. Yeah, because what 12 times 12 times 5,
It's
that's
60.
6 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
60.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no, no, we had 10
It's
years. We
actually
had a 10-year
overdue.
run.
Yeah. It's more than 10 years.
It's
Like, mhm.
overdue.
Yep.
Yeah, this was the longest one we've ever had.
With no
What's
recession. If you exclude the COVID induced recession of 2020. Yeah. So, but go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right. And so, why prepare for this recession? We got a lot of great reasons why you should prepare for the recession. This inverted yield shows you gives you an accurate projector of the recessions, right?
Hmm.
But do
Now,
you see how it's very low? Go ahead, Win.
yeah, for those of you who don't know what the yield curve is and when it inverts. So what happens usually is that the interest rate on long-term debt, let's say 10 years or 30 years, is usually higher than short-term debt, let's say 1 year or 60 days, right? However, when the economy goes in a bad situation, the yield curve inverts, meaning the short term, like 1 year, is actually higher interest rate than the long term, like 10 years or 30 years. And so what this chart is showing is that when the yield curve inverts, I mean, it usually is not 100%, but it has a high chance of predicting the next recession. And if you look at the next chart, the yield curve. So if it's negative, then that means the short term, has a higher interest rate than the long term. So as you can see here, compared with 2008, the yield curve has actually inverted more than back in 2000. Actually, this is in 2007. So what happens is once the yield curve inverts, usually the next year, then you have a recession. So, but go ahead,
So,
Mike.
so what you think right now is they finally ready to admit that we're in a recession. Number one, that's one of the toughest things. Uh, and it takes a while to adjust in a recession because some people are not realistic. Like we're being forced into a recession to cool the market off, and because of that, when interest rates go up, values come down. Well, another reason why it takes a while for people to accept it is people don't want to accept that their property is not worth anything. Well, I won't say worth anything, but still maintains the value that it had prior. So even though we're in a recession, some of it's behavioral that we have to accept, some psychological as well. We have all the data and all the information to share and show that we're in a recession, but yet I don't think have they officially said we're in a recession yet?
I mean, technically, the GDP increased by 1.6% or 1.9%. So technically, we are out of the recession. But I believe, I mean, very smart people like Elon Musk and other business leaders are predicting that we are going to, we're going to go through a very, very, very bad recession, because what's happening is that when the Fed increases the interest rate, it takes time for it to go through the system, and they've been increasing it by 75 basis points for the past 3 quarters. And even if they slow down the increase, this December, to like 50 basis points, I mean, all of those cumulative increases will take time to go through the economy. I mean, the tech sector, has already, is already losing jobs, thousands and thousands of jobs. And then what happens is it will trickle down to the rest of the economy. And then they predict there will be like a very, very, very severe recession. So it's like what this chart is saying, right? So if you position your real estate investment as if going to be a recession, then if there is no recession, then you actually got a really good deal, right? But if a recession
That's right.
happens, then you will be okay. Which is like is exactly what happened to you, Mike, right? Because you're buying houses and real estate, in 2005, 2006, 2007, even as the market goes up. But I know you were very, very conservative, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but honestly, I always was conservative. But back then, during the recession, I ain't have to be conservative. These properties were dirt cheap.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
during
buying
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
for
Yeah, during the
five
recession, yeah,
thousand
it's cheap, but before the
dollars.
recession, you kind of prepared yourself for it,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I prepared. I mean, I always did. I was working on short sales, so we had multiple opportunities on multiple deals. So, but look, three things I did before during the last recession. I focused on cash flow properties uh, and quick cash. Uh, I buy properties at discount patiently and use the power of leverage. Now we're going to share with you what I mean by the power of leverage, not what you guys typically think it is. Um, Focus on cash flow and quick cash. The reason I focused on cash flow is I was at a point I wanted to make sure my bills were covered. I could go into all these big things about the importance of cash flow and why you should do it. But quite frankly, I wanted my cash flow so that it would cover all my expenses. And through the Great Recession, I was able to do that. And at the time, I only needed to be at what, I don't know, 5 to 7,000, and I was good. And so, and I was still flipping property. So, what that allowed me to do is take a deep breath and not have to take every deal. So, when you have cash flow, you got your expenses covered, and you have extra money. Hey, life is starting to be really good. And then you start mixing in flips. That's when you're able to build up capital.
Yeah. I
Uh,
remember I remember a lot of flippers in Cincinnati, like fix and flips. I mean, they had to hold on to those properties for like, almost a year before
oh,
they were able to
absolutely.
sell them. Yeah, they lost a lot of money. But you were telling me before, Mike, that you're able to the flips you're doing, it's more like you buy a property, you don't actually touch them sometimes, right? And then you just resell them. And that's kind of like that quick cash allows you to build that,
Absolutely.
like a lot of uh dry powder, so to speak, right?
Yeah, they love to drive out. A lot of people, that was a lot of people's strategy was to do quick flips so that they'll have money to go buy cash flow properties. And
Mm-hmm.
I was the opposite.
Mm.
You know, I wanted to be able to take my time and think and not rush. When you quick flipping all the time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I got guys that make a lot of money flipping houses to this day. Now they do it on another level. They flipping, $500,000 houses, or they flipping buildings with cell phone towers. But that's a grind. I
Right.
don't want to grind. I want to be like this all the time. You see this? I'm looking at properties in different countries now, different teams, and that's because I got cash flow.
Right.
If I had to keep flipping properties, that means I got to be there all the time. I mean, with technology, you don't have to. You can sign everything online, but you got to always investigate property. So my portion, I would like to do, cash flowing property. And I focused on a lot of deals where the opportunities, and that was short sales. I did a lot of short sales and bought a lot of non-performing notes doing that last one. And I went to a lot of auctions.
Yeah. Tell everyone like your best deal at auctions, Mike. Like it's I still can't believe it, even though I've heard this story like a million times.
Oh yeah. Now, marginal wise and profit wise, not as far as financial profit, but margin wise, my best deals was at the final auction. We had at the Hamilton County. They got the final auction, which is inclusive of tax sales and property sales that, whatever reason, didn't sell at the auction. And so I knew the highway was coming through, in our city. And so I went and bought a lot of these properties at the auctions for, I don't know, $300, $500, $800. And I knew the highway was coming out, but I was thinking the highway would come 5, 6 years later, or at least people would come by it 5, 6 years later. I was wrong. Within a year and a half, 2 years, I sold all my properties that I paid $300, $500, $600, $800. I sold them all for $80,000 to $180,000
Each.
Now,
each, right? Not the total.
You know what? So,
$80,000.
you know what I was really mad about? I was
Mhm.
really mad I ain't buy more because I could have bought the entire block.
Yeah,
People were begging me to buy their properties.
that's crazy.
And I could have bought them all. The most I would have spent on a parcel or a house was 10 grand. Now, there were some people that kind of knew what was going on and was holding out, but I was still so far ahead of the curve. Like the most I would have spent was $25,000. I didn't want to do it. That $25,000 and $10,000 property, I didn't want money on. End up selling for $250,000 to $400,000.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's nuts. That's crazy.
Sometimes
So,
you gotta go with your gut, man.
yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
all data wasn't gonna show that.
Really? Huh. Interesting.
No data's gonna show you that. So even before the recession, I was buying at discount, not value.
Not
So
market value. Yeah.
not money. I never buy at market value. I was just patient for the deal. I didn't follow the crowd. Matter of fact, I didn't follow the crowd again. Now, I kind of think I should have, but maybe I shouldn't. Like, for example, when interest rates dropped to like 2%, 2.3, 2.6, people went out and bought these multifamilies at a premium that
Yeah.
were already up and running. And they were like, dude, why not? I can cash flow this thing. Now, here's the problem. They did that about 2 years ago, and they were doing interest only. By year 5 or 7, that note's going to come due. Right now, rates are up around 7%. I
Right.
still think you can get a rate around 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't getting it at no 2.25, no 2 or
Yep.
3. I mean, I think the lowest you probably be is 5%. But I seriously doubt they're going to be able to cash flow that property at 5%. I mean, that's a really big difference.
Right.
Here, let's just do interest only. For example, on $1 million deal, 2% interest. What's that? 20 grand a year,
20,000 a year. Yep.
right? So if you're making 50,000 a year, right, or 60,000, let's say 60,000 a year, and you get a 2% loan, that means you're making, let's say 60 grand, you will net 40,000 a year, right?
Right.
But when you go and you got to refinance to that existing rate, and that rate now is 6%,
7%. Yeah.
7%. If you just imagine you have to refi right now, that's 70,000 in debt service you're gonna make. You're upside down 10,000 a year. The only way to get out of that is to continue to increase rents. And if you buy at the top of the market, and probably rents make
Right.
suppress a little bit. I doubt it, but let's say they did. These are the things of why I want you to be somewhat conservative, unless you know where the market is going.
All right.
Use the power of leverage. Now, again, some of you thought I was going to talk about get a bank loan, which I am, but not your traditional bank loan. Leverage OPM, other people's money, or leverage OPK, other people's knowledge. That's essential. And then the other thing is OPM, other people's network. Leveraging is everything. What you don't have, you go get somebody else that has it. All right. So let's talk about OPM, other people's money. I met old man Gary back when I was just coming before the recession, and actually, me and Gary had something in common. We were just recovering. Gary was recovering back from. Can everybody hear me still?
We can hear you now. Yeah.
He was recovering. He worked for TSA. Some of you may not even remember TSA, but that's how old Gary was.
The airline? Is that the airline?
Yes. And they went bankrupt, and they bankrupt. Not only that, but they bankrupt his 401k.
Oh my
God! Started all over again. Yes, exactly. And he bought some property in Atlanta, and he ended up having $800,000 that he flipped. Well, Gary lent me $200,000 at 11% interest only. No, 10% interest only. Yeah, it was 10%, not 11.
Oh, okay.
10% at 2 points. Well, that doesn't matter. Some people did 11. I mean, you still make money out of 11.
Right.
That's another thing I want to tell you. Some of you like, oh my gosh, the interest rates are so high now. They're 7%. I'm showing you now that I was born at 10 and 11%.
Right.
So what was I doing back then? Waiting for the right deal.
Yep.
I had to really have a great deal for the cash flow.
Yeah, you're just buying it. You're just buying them cheap enough that it doesn't matter even if the interest rate is 10-11%.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he gave me that line of credit. And then OPK, other people's knowledge. Oh, we can finish that.
No. Go ahead.
I met someone which, quite frankly, was my god sister, Rhonda Cargill. I was losing everything, right? This is when I was going broke. But when I was going broke, that was an amazing opportunity. It was a great opportunity. Why? Even though I was losing everything, I gained knowledge on how to do short sales. And from there, I was like, I know how I'm going to get opportunities. But not at the time. Because at the time, we were in a recession. I think when I started losing that, and it was a Great Recession, that was right after 9/11. The Great Recession didn't start coming in until 2008.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But guess what? I was prepared. And so when the Great Recession came, I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a whole bunch of short sales and buy non-performing mortgage notes. And that's exactly what we did.
Yep.
And that's why. Go ahead.
And you even helped Nate, right? When Nate was losing.
I helped my partner Nate get out of one of the worst. I could say he was in bad deals, but he was in a bad situation. Let me fix this here. I'm just all over the place today. I didn't have good lighting. But yeah, I helped him negotiate all his mortgage notes, and we were able to negotiate him getting out of foreclosure and bankruptcy. And we bought all his notes and sold them all, and made his investors whole. So, amazing things. All because I went through a very inconvenient times, years before everybody else. So there's success in failure.
Yep.
Did everybody understand that? There's a lot of success in failures. All right.
Cool.
And so there's OPN, other people's network. Look, I leverage other people's investors, other people's property management teams to buy and profit from buildings like this. Look, through other people's network, I had deals, I had connections, and through that, we were able to do bigger deals. We were able to get into multi-units. And guess what? I leveraged their skill set in managing because at the time they were better than me in managing because they had operations. Quite frankly, I learned how to be a better operator and property manager through them. And
Mhm.
they raised the capital for the deal.
That's amazing.
So they
Yeah,
have a network.
and this particular deal, right, Mike? Like the overall profit, for all the partners were like what, like 5 million or something crazy, right?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, we were closing one or two deals a year, netting $1 million. So through that network and partnership, yeah, I mean, yeah, we netted probably total 5 million. Everybody netted $1 million at least.
Nice. That's
And there's some
awesome.
deals we netted $1 million
Mm-hmm.
individually.
Mm-hmm.
So what is one thing you need to do to prepare for the recession? Look, you have to learn how to raise capital at minimum. You got to do that. You got to be able to network. You got to be able to have relationships, to understand relationships. Now, for you millennials, you
Well,
younger folk, my younger folk here, right? I know I'm young. I know you think I'm young too, but I'm older. Uh, Technology is your strength. It's strengthened a lot of us. Social media is a strength. But what happens when technology is not there, that is also our weakness
mm,
because you forget about having relationships with people, how
yeah,
to talk to people uh,
right.
I would, in person, by eye contact, body contact,
Mm-hmm.
how to measure people, finding out their goals. Everybody don't, some people still, at some point, you're going to have to meet up with these people. And you're going to have to establish relationships. So, yes, technology it's a great thing. It's helped expedite a lot of different things. Hell, we've obtained investors that we've never met through technology, and I don't want to take that away. But
Mm-hmm.
some of them, when you get into bigger deals, you're going to have to meet these people, and it's all about if they like you or not.
Right, right. And knowing how to raise capital, I mean, that's good in every market cycle, right, Mike? But especially
Yeah.
during a recession, because I remember back in 2000, well, in 2006, if you can fog a mirror, you can get a loan, right? But in 2000, by in 2008, you can have like a 800 credit score with 20% down payment, but for some reason, banks will still not lend money to you. It's really strange. Like money was so available, and then all of a sudden, bam, 2008 happens. Like nobody wants to lend, right? So like you meeting old man Gary prior to the recession, I mean, and then you know establishing that relationship, right? And then showing that to others. Now you're able to raise even more money. And when the recession came, it's like, oh, well, I have all of this private capital behind me. So you're able to buy as many foreclosures as they were available. And there were like tons of them, right? So knowing how to raise money, guys, is very, very crucial. So you gotta learn how to do it. It's non-negotiable. Like you can,
Yeah,
some of you might be
I
thinking,
mean,
well, I have some money, maybe I'll just use that. But no, come, like when a great recession happens again, bank lending is going to be very, very difficult. So
right now, bank lending is tightening up. If
that's
you don't
true.
already
Mhm.
have a relationship with a bank, they may not lend to you. They're gonna at times like this, they want to borrow and work with people they already know.
Yep,
So
exactly.
it's important to be able to raise capital.
Hmm.
Uh, so look, like I always share with people, we do multiple things here at Nassau. We have multiple vehicles. We help people using our vehicles of hotels, apartment, and education. So whether you want to be passive,
Mike, we lost you. Mike. All right. Can you guys hear me? Just want to double check. You guys hear me? Type it in the chat that you can. Can you guys hear me?
I
Okay,
can hear
good.
you when he got
All right.
disconnected.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just continue this. So guys, so in our mastermind, this is what we focus on is teaching you how to raise capital and teaching you how to find and analyze apartments and hotels, right? So Tim Vest and Keisha Kennedy are just two of the many success stories that we have. Tim Vest is our most successful student. He raised over $10 million to acquire and invest in over 1,000 apartment units in just 2 years. So last Thanksgiving, Tim sent this video telling Mike that this guy here has already done over $100 million worth of deals. And when Tim started, he was an introvert. He even asked Mike, "Hey Mike, can I really do this? Because I'm an introvert. I don't care about like I just want to analyze deals. That's what I'm good at. That's what we're gonna do, right?" And yet Mike told him, "No, you will raise money. This is how you're going to do it." And just follow the system, and that's exactly what he did. And 2 years later, over $100 million worth of deals, right? Keisha Kennedy, on the other hand, at first she struggled, like man, she was trying to do too many things and she's getting burned out. And then she decided, her mastermind coach, John Casmon, advised her, what, focus on raising capital. And that's exactly what she did. And all the way from Kuwait, she was able to invest in the US and acquired or invested in over 500 apartment units in just 18 months. Okay. Our mastermind is by application only. If you want to be considered for the mastermind, text the word mastermind to Steven at 561-889-8135. Again, that's 561-889-8135. All right. So hopefully Mike will come back, especially for the Q&A. But
oh yeah, I'm back here.
there you go.
I'm
So
back here.
yeah. But Tim and Keisha, they're not the only success stories. We have a ton of them right now. Robert Musso, Alex Chan went from 0 to 800 units. Gaspari Urso, has done 128 units with Mike and another, I don't know, 32 units with Robert Musso, I think. Keisha Kennedy, as mentioned, Kellen, Malika. Malika is now what, at 300 plus units, right, Mike? Raleigh,
Yes.
100 plus units. Brian Adamson, has over 200 units and he doesn't even have investors, right? Which is crazy. He has private lenders, but not investors. DLU, close on a hotel, refinance it, pulled out cash on her first hotel deal. And then she has other hotels as well. And Johannes Orpalainen, we interviewed him last week. He told us all he wanted was to acquire one hotel in the next 12 months. And since joining the mastermind since June, in just 6 months, he acquired he acquired 3 hotels in just 6 months. So my question is, like, are you next, right? Do you want to be a success story? Do you want to learn how to raise private capital, right? So that when the greater recession happens, right, you are prepared and you just not survive it, you can actually thrive just like how Mike did it, right? So that's the question to you. So again, guys, text the word mastermind to Steven at 561-889-8135, 561-889-8135. All right, and I think that's all we have. So Mike, anything you'd like to add about the mastermind?
Oh, we're done? Is that it?
I think so. Yeah. So it's time for questions later, but yeah,
Yeah.
anything you'd
No,
like
I
to,
mean,
yeah.
raising capital is everything, man. These are some of the things that are essential, and we want to get away from that sometimes because we don't feel comfortable. But again, I tell you over and over again, you don't always want to be comfortable. But hey, you want to be comfortable on vacation. But when it comes to real estate, you want to be able to push yourself, be in uncomfortable positions, and that's where the learning begins. You first just force yourself to get in these positions. Help. There's somebody in there looking for the book. If you send them the link from BrokeToMillions.com. Well, I don't know who's on Spotlight. It looks like you're on Spotlight. I don't know if it's me or you. But we'll take questions now. If anybody in the chat has questions or ideas, Reggie want to know about the book.
So
short sales.
Dennis Russell, for short sales, do you call bankers or go through agents? Well, I can answer that if you want, but I mean, go ahead, Mike.
Well, there's a couple of things. I'll let you. We'll both jump in there. There's a couple of things. Yes, you can, but also you can market for them. There's multiple software programs and data that'll share people who are in default. And so a lot of people will cold call or send flyers or things in an email, find them if they want to sell a home. Or, hey, if you're distressed, they'll advertise. And I expect that they'll advertise through Facebook as well, through social media if you lose your house, So you're not just going to see them at late night TV anymore. What else do you think, Wendell?
Yeah. So like how I found my short sales, we put out bandit signs, we buy houses, we send direct mail to people who are 3 months behind on their mortgages. And then sometimes you just ask like people for referrals. And then they're like, oh, I mean, especially in 2008, like every 3 or 4 houses are in foreclosures. It's like easy to find, right? In fact, there were too many of them that the short sale department or loss mitigation department of banks were like, like taking up too much time for them to approve any short sales, which was crazy. So you can get them directly from sellers. Sometimes there are real estate agents who specialize in short sales. You can also talk to them and say, hey, I'm a cash buyer. I can get the short sales that you are able to negotiate. I will be your buyer. And those real estate agents specialize in short sales. They really love that because now they know they have an exit strategy, right? So you can work with them as well. And then the next question here, Mike, do you use private lenders? If so, how do you find them?
I mean, private lenders, that's a little easier to find. You can literally go online and say hard money lenders. The problem is finding the one that actually performs, because you're running into so many different brokers and people that are saying they're doing deals and they're not. They say, hey, I can get it done in one timeline. So, but finding private lenders is also not necessarily actually a fund you go to, but those are easier because they got track records. We had a few that were doing it, but any larger ones, they might be on hold right now because we had one out of Austin, Texas, and they were, I don't know, turning $50 million in loans a month. They would lend it out and then resell it to the secondary market. But the secondary market is not buying those notes anymore. So guess what? They don't have any more money to put out there. So that's one of the downsides. But that's why you want to find your own private lender or private investor. And that's just simply networking, going to RIA, getting on social media, going to AIS, going into Burr Invest, and networking. I promise you'll find somebody in these groups.
Yeah. So, yep, that's part of the things that we teach our mastermind members is like, actually, you don't find private investors, they find you. So you switch the script around with the right techniques. These private investors, high net worth individuals, will actually seek you out, right, Mike? It's like we don't beg people for money; they actually beg us. Hey, I have 100 grand here. What can you do with this? I've seen you on social media. I've seen, like you've been posting and so on. Like people actually seek out, our mastermind members. They don't seek out investors. Investors seek them. So any other questions, guys? From Vien Nguyen, what's the best way to find good fix and flip properties? Can you show us a few strategies?
Say that one more time.
What is the best way to find good fix and flip properties? Can you show us a few
Oh, where
strategies?
to find a deal? That, man, that's everybody's question, right? Where can I find a deal? Because the MLS is dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of direct marketing. Uh, a lot of the bandit signs still work. Wynn loves those. My man Paul Glenn loves putting bandit. I don't think he
Yeah.
does it anymore. Does Paul still put bandit signs up?
I don't know. Like, I mean, he has so many sources of deals now that I don't think he does it anymore. But when we started, like, yeah, you know, Paul Glenn is like the king of bandit signs because that's
Yeah,
exactly what I thought. He was like, put out bandit signs every single week. Put out bandit signs, like hundreds of them. So, but
yeah, and it simply says, hey, we buy houses. But look, you can run ads on Facebook, Instagram. They're going to be so much cheaper. Just say
mm,
we buy houses. There's lead generators. Simply looking for this. Then on that, there's cold calling. People get addresses and they get, man, they got access to your phone and they're selling phone numbers and sending out mass text messages out
mm,
to simply say, are you selling your house or do you have property to sell? So
I like
it's
I like code violations, Mike.
you still like the code violation?
Yeah. I mean that always works in any real estate cycle or economic cycle because I mean think about it, right? So people who don't, I mean Bien Nguyen, if you don't know, like people who don't take care of their lawn or let's say their rental property had a break in, they have broken windows, falling gutters, bad roofs and so on, right? They get the city will put a fine, like send them a nasty note, hey, you have a code violation, fix this or else you get a big fine, whatever, right? I mean, once they get a fine, like they're more motivated to like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of this landlording, right? I'm sick and tired of tenants. They mess up the property. I had to break in, but I ran out of money. I can fix this. Like they're really desperate, and we've gotten several properties, for literally $1. Like the seller's like, you know what, take care of this. I don't care. I know I'm going to lose like $50,000, but just take care of it. I don't want the city to be calling me and yeah, like because they don't want the fines, right? Because and we were able to get properties really, really dirt cheap, So, but getting the code violations though, that's the challenge because it can be a list that is difficult to get, depending on your county, your city's, health department or building department. You have to track down the list, but the more difficult the list is to get, the more lucrative the list becomes. Like when I was, mailing to code violations, I was getting like 30 to 40% response rate, whereas the typical foreclosure list that the response rate is like 0.5 to 1%. So like code violations is crazy. Here's another
We
question,
did
Mike.
we
Yeah.
did extremely well with code violations. I mean, you talk about those extreme, but heck, sometimes with code violations, people just turn the house over to you.
Yeah, that's how desperate they are. Like, you know what, Mike? Here's my house. Here's my building. I'd rather have you the like. I'd rather have you the building or whatever. Instead of me getting a $10,000, $20,000 fine from the city, right? So, but here's another question from Clarence Carter. Will family offices actually work with me if I don't have too much experience?
Yeah, probably not.
That's
Uh,
true. Mm-hmm.
but that's what we talk about: leverage on other people's experience, leverage on other
Exactly.
people's knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and through joint ventures, if you find the right people to work with, have the skill set, or have some capacity, they'll be willing to work with you because they know you know what you're doing. Because listen, they want to put money with you. People want to put money with people. It's their job. I know you can't believe this, but there's people that have too much money and they can't manage it. So they need help. And so they want to write a check for 5, 10, 30, 50, 100 million to somebody that can manage it. So how do you get it? You either learn how to do it or you do a joint venture with people that know how to do it and become a part of the team.
Right.
In saying that, part of the team, listen, if you want to become a mastermind, you want to learn how to leverage or do joint ventures, hey, just text Steve at 561-889-8135. 561-889-8135. That's mastermind. You want to learn how to raise, like I said, coming up in January, we got Opium Intensive. That's going to be a great meetup for some of our existing students, but learning how to raise capital. I mean, that was the two top things that I'm hearing all the time about real estate is how to raise capital and how to find the deals.
Yep.
And then the next one is to analyze the deal, right? I mean, those are two top three things. If you get that, so having one of the three is going to take you to that next level. But some of you are like, look, Mike, I love my job. I love what I'm doing. I don't have time. I don't want to do that. Man, well, just invest passively with us. That's really simple. Just email us, Mike at NassauInvest with an S.com, or go to our website and what is it? Talk to us. And
Nassau Invest and click talk to us. That's right. Yeah.
Go to NassauInvest.com and click talk to us. And we'll set you up with one of our guys to talk so you can be a part of some of the great projects that we have, especially like Sarasota, Florida, and some new hotel purchases that we're doing right now.
Cool. Michael Moore has a question. Who pays the code violation if you take over the property? I can answer that if you want.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So who pays for the code violation when you take over the property? Well, the way we did it is we just wholesale those properties to other landlords or to other, to fix and flippers. But technically, technically it goes with the property, at least for a lot of cities and counties, across the US. So the one who owns the property will have to take care of that code violation. Now, sometimes the city will be like, oh, we're going to demolish the property, right? And you have like 30 days, or like they will give you like this, hefty fine, or like they're kind of like scaring you a bit. And you would think, oh, to fix this property, it will cost me like $30,000. Whereas if you know what you're doing, like Mike and Nate, it will only cost like $5,000 to fix it, and you avoid a $20,000 fine, right? You don't have to pay the fine as long as you resolve the issue, So that's the answer there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, like there's a lot of ways around that, but yeah, at some point you're going to have to pay the fine, and it may stay with the property, maybe not. But the biggest thing, they just want to see somebody do some work,
right?
And once you do the work, I mean, a lot of those problems go away. But you have to be aggressive. You can't just sit around, especially now, at least in Cincinnati, Hamilton County. Man, they're aggressive on those fines. When they put one out, they want it fixed right away. They coming at you. As a matter of fact, whenever nowadays they can be fining somebody, as soon as the property transfers, they go all in and being aggressive on fining them or trying to foreclose on the property.
Yep. Yeah. So you have to know the rules in your city, as far as code violations is concerned, because it varies from city to city, county to county.
Yep.
Sometimes you can get the code violations list, if from the building department, sometimes it's from the health department, sometimes it's with the county, sometimes it's with the city. That's why code violations, to me, once you figure it out for your city, it's gold, right? Because it's hard to get. And therefore, when you get it, it's like you're the only, you're one of the few who is smart enough and persistent enough to even get the list. That's how crazy it is. So Yeah, awesome information according to Dale. So yeah, you're very welcome, Dale. So, any other questions, guys? And then Dian Nguyen said that what you call this? That Keisha is you know is
Pretty awesome.
yeah really awesome. Um, you know. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, um, yeah, let's go to millionaire mindset, Mike.
Let's go. Millionaire mindset with no
All right.
music. All
I know Walt's like, come on, man.
right.
So let's
Hey,
do it.
so who on here wants to be successful? If you want to be successful, type it in the chat. Who on here wants to be successful? I see me. I see yes here. Yes. And
Decibel.
some of you just say it out loud. I want to be successful. And I know I'm not there. I know I'm not in your room. I know I'm not in the office. But and even if you're in the office, whisper it. Or if for someone yell and let them know, I want to be successful. Just say it to yourself. All right. Well, I'm seeing all this successful. I even heard the echoes all the way in the Bahamas about people being successful. But do me a favor. Do me a favor. If you want to be successful, do this for me. Just put your hand right over the forehead and just come down like this. All right. All right. Did you get that? Did you get that? Here, let me do it again. If you want to be successful, if you want to be successful, put it right over that forehead and pull it down. Are you doing that? See, what I want to do, I want you to pull the mask off your face, to peel that mask off your face so I can talk to the real person right here today. Because we want to get real. See, titles don't define you. Titles don't define. Look, I'm an engineer, electrical engineer by trade, or because of my college degree. But it is not where I ended up being. I ended up doing real estate and doing extremely well. But it wasn't everything. Some of you have these job titles and you feel that's all you are. Or some of you, man, you may be in a tough place. Maybe you got laid off from your job and you felt that was your entire being. Or maybe you're in relationships that are not working, whether it's your family members, your husband or wife, and it's not working out and they left. What I'm telling you, it does not define you. See, so many of you have seen me, and you believe that's a define of success, or maybe P. Diddy or Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady, he's pretty good. That's the GOAT, baby. Tom Brady's the GOAT. But what I'm telling you is you didn't see me when I was couch surfing. You didn't see me when I didn't have no home to land. You didn't see Tom Brady when he got drafted 6th round and nobody wanted to play him. You didn't see P. Diddy when he didn't even have a father or a steady home and they were fighting every day to figure out how to feed themselves. But yet they went on to do great things. It was those failures that defined their character, which created their resilience, which then allowed them to push forward. Now that's what defines you. Becoming relentless and using these obstacles. So you didn't see the 599 times I got rejected before I got my one yes. Becoming resilient is what defines your character and what defines how you go through things in life. See, listen here. I'm dedicated to your success. I'm committed for you guys to be successful. I want you to be successful. I cannot be successful unless I have a successor. But I need you guys to push through and celebrate your failures. Because when you have failures, that allows you to move to greatness. And as I shared with you earlier, man, this technology is your strength, but it can be your weakness. And when you're going out to raise capital or you're trying to create multiple businesses and you're trying to get to your success, you got to understand the importance of a relationship. You got to understand the importance of resilience, because I'm going to tell you, we may make it look easier, but it is hard and you must put in the work. But like I tell you, you will never quit. You will never win if you quit. So remember, just peel off that mask, get to the real you, and get to work. Because remember, you're one big deal away. Peace. Thanks so much for joining us today, man. Hey, man. So look,
Bye, Mike.
we hope to see you next week. Win, walk. Hope to see you in the office sometime soon. Hey, thanks, Dale. I appreciate being the GOAT. Peace out to White. Everybody, Paulette.
Paulette. Yeah, Paulette is one of the members of our mastermind. Hi, Paulette.
Absolutely, man. So I'm looking for all you people to be successful. I'm always looking for you people to push through. Just make it happen. God bless. God keep. See you, my man, Jack. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.